Hello guys, welcome back to TFD. So yeah, this one is honestly kind of hilarious. Like genuinely one of those moments where you just have to laugh a little when you see it. Caitlin Clark was spotted in some fan photos, except these weren't normal fans. These were actually players from the New Zealand team that Team USA had just played the day before. After getting completely destroyed by Team USA in that game, the New Zealand players literally went out of their way to take photos with Caitlin Clark, and the whole situation just feels funny when you think about it. Like the kind of funny where you just sit there shaking your head and laughing like, no way this actually happened. It almost feels like one of those old stories about teams facing the Dream Team back in the day. Except in this case, the Dream Team is basically one single player. Caitlin Clark is getting that kind of attention where opponents want pictures with her after the game. And honestly, that's kind of badass. Now, to be fair, when you think back to those Dream Team days, I sometimes wonder if players were really lining up to get photos with someone like John Stockton. Like, no disrespect, but you know damn well most players were trying to get pictures with the biggest superstars. But we all remember those stories where players from smaller basketball countries would ask for autographs during or after games. And that's kind of what this reminds me of. Teams like Italy or Spain probably aren't going to be asking Caitlin Clark for pictures. But we've already seen this happen with Brazil, and now we're seeing it again with New Zealand. Some of these teams that are just outside the top tier clearly recognize how big of a star she is. At the end of the day, it's not a huge deal, and it doesn't really change anything. But the funniest part might actually be the caption they used, something like, "just getting photos with some fans," which honestly makes the whole thing even hilariouser. Like, the sarcasm there is hilarious as hell. Alright, so right now, one of the most ridiculous and honestly entertaining things happening in women's basketball has nothing to do with the actual games. It's the online chaos between the Paige Bueckers fans and the Caitlin Clark fans. And let me be clear from the start, does this voting battle actually mean anything? No. Absolutely nothing. Not a damn thing. The MVP isn't even decided by a public vote, but watching this unfold online is genuinely hilarious, like full-on internet clown show energy. So here's what's happening. About 15 minutes ago, Paige Bueckers had a lead of around 30,000 votes. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, Caitlin Clark jumps ahead, and the numbers didn't just slowly move either. Nah, this thing moved like someone smashed the boost the hell out of this poll button. It looked like someone hit a turbo button. Within minutes, Clark overtakes Paige, and then, literally about 3 minutes later, Paige Bueckers suddenly gains another massive chunk of votes and jumps ahead again by about 15,000. And at that point, you can't help but laugh because it's so obvious what's happening. Like, come on, nobody is that fast clicking a poll. Someone is clearly buying votes or running bots. These votes aren't expensive either. You can probably get like 15,000 votes for around $100 online. So what you're basically watching is a back-and-forth bidding war between fan bases. And honestly, that part is hilarious, because every few minutes the numbers swing wildly. Caitlin Clark overtakes Paige, then Paige Bueckers jumps back ahead, then Clark starts catching up again. It's like watching some ridiculous internet boxing match. Meanwhile, you've got players like Angel Reese, Ryan Howard, and others just sitting thousands of votes behind, while these two are battling like it's some kind of chaotic internet war. Like they're just standing there watching the madness thinking, what the hell is wrong with these fan bases? And the craziest part? This vote has only been open for about 9 hours. 9 hours. At the halfway mark, it was something normal, like 19,000 for Caitlin Clark and 15,000 for Paige Bueckers. Totally reasonable numbers. Nothing weird. Fast forward a few hours, and suddenly they've combined for over 500,000 votes. 500,000 in a few hours. At this point, you almost feel like the people running the poll are just staring at their screens wondering, what the hell just happened to our website? Because these numbers aren't moving naturally, not even close. They're jumping 5,000, 10,000, sometimes instantly, like someone just slammed the spam the hell out of this poll button. Honestly, this might be the most chronically online moment I've ever seen in sports. And that's saying something, because sports fans can be absolutely unhinged on the internet sometimes. All right, so let's talk about this whole situation, because honestly, it's pretty funny when you step back and look at it. Like the kind of funny where you just shake your head and go, man, what the hell is going on? New Zealand just played Team USA, got completely blown out, and then right after the game, you've got players from the New Zealand team going out of their way to take photos with Caitlin Clark. And the thing is, this isn't even the first time we've seen something like this. Brazil did the exact same thing earlier. Brazil players were also getting pictures with Caitlin after the game. So at this point, you almost have to laugh a little because it's becoming a pattern. And when people see that, some fans immediately start acting shocked, like, why are opponents asking for photos? But if you actually think about it for a second, it's not surprising at all, not even a little bit. This is what happens when you're dealing with a global sports star. And whether people want to admit it or not, Caitlin Clark right now is the international star of women's basketball. One thing that a lot of people in the United States don't seem to understand is how different the perception is outside of America. Outside the US, most casual sports fans don't even know who Paige Bueckers is. They just don't. And yeah, I know somebody is going to jump in the comments like, well, I'm from this country and I know who she is. Congratulations. Good for you. You're probably watching WNBA content or basketball content online all the time. You're the exception, not the rule. For most people around the world, if they know one name in women's basketball right now, it's Caitlin Clark. That's just the reality, whether people like it or not. And I've seen this firsthand. I've been doing YouTube for about 10 years now, and it's been my full-time job for the last 5. So when I run into people in real life, they sometimes ask what I'm doing these days. They'll say something like, are you still doing gaming content? Because that's what I used to do a lot of before. And when I tell them that I actually talk about basketball now, specifically the WNBA, the reaction is almost always the same. About 80 or 90% of the time, the first thing they ask is that Clark girl actually as good as people say? Sometimes they don't even know her full name. They might just say Clark, or they'll say that Caitlin girl, but they know the name. They've heard about her, and that alone tells you something. And the question is always the same. Is she really that good? My answer is usually pretty simple. Is she the greatest basketball player to ever touch a ball? Probably not. But is she one of the most entertaining players to watch right now? Absolutely, without question. In terms of excitement, deep shooting, playmaking, and just the style she brings to the court, she's probably been exactly what people expected. And honestly, maybe even better than advertised since she turned pro. So when teams like New Zealand or Brazil go out of their way to take photos with her, it really shouldn't shock anyone. That's just what happens when a global superstar shows up. You see it in every sport. Players want to capture the moment, they want the picture, they want something to remember it. And honestly, who the hell wouldn't? And honestly, I'm more surprised that we haven't seen it from even more teams yet. I'm a little surprised Puerto Rico didn't do it. I'm surprised some other teams didn't do the same thing. But it probably will happen more as the tournament goes on, because the reality is pretty simple. Caitlin Clark is the global face of women's basketball right now. At the same time, while all this is happening, there's also that ridiculous MVP fan vote situation going on online between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers. And honestly, that might be the funniest part of this whole story. Like straight up internet circus levels of funny. Because while I'm recording this video, the vote totals are still going crazy. A few minutes ago, Paige Bueckers had a lead. Then Caitlin jumped ahead. Then Paige Bueckers jumped ahead again. Now they're both gaining thousands of votes every couple of minutes. And both of them have gained about 2,000 votes in the last few minutes alone. And when you look at it, you just start laughing because there's no damn way that's happening naturally. At this point, it honestly looks like bots fighting bots. It's probably not even real fans anymore. It's just automated voting scripts going back and forth trying to push their player ahead. Like some weird, nerdy robot war happening behind the scenes. So honestly, May the best fan bot win at this stage. Because if Caitlyn ends up winning the vote, it probably just means someone supporting Caitlyn bought the better voting bot. And if Paige Bueckers wins, then it probably means someone on that side did the same thing. Either way, the whole thing is kind of ridiculous and funny at the same time. Meanwhile, players like Angel Reese, Ryan Howard, and others are just sitting thousands of votes behind, while these two are battling in what looks like the most online war imaginable. They're probably just sitting there like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Honestly, it would be hilarious if someone completely random suddenly won the vote. Imagine if out of nowhere, another player, like Carrera or Koulibaly, suddenly jumped ahead and won MVP because someone decided to mess with the poll. That would actually be the funniest outcome possible, like absolute chaos. But putting all that aside, the bigger point still stands. It shouldn't surprise anyone that Caitlin Clark is getting swarmed by attention from fans and even opposing players. She is the superstar of women's basketball right now. There are still people online who try to argue against that idea, but it's one of those things that's pretty obvious to anyone looking at the bigger picture. In terms of global recognition, popularity, and media attention, nobody else is really close right now. Maybe in certain places you could argue different players are more popular locally. Maybe in Connecticut, Paige Bueckers has a massive following. Maybe in Louisiana, Angel Reese has huge support. But across most of the United States, and especially around the world, the name people recognize is Caitlin Clark. That's just the truth. And moments like this with the New Zealand team kind of prove it. When players from other countries are going out of their way to get photos with someone after the game, that tells you how big that player's reputation has become internationally. So yeah, at the end of the day, none of this is really shocking. It's just another example of how big Caitlin Clark's impact on the sport has become. Pretty wild when you think about it. Anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think about the whole situation. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.